welcome to Lesson 1 of B.3, the Cancer Unit. I'm Nicole Bettis, an OpenSciEd facilitator and former high school biology teacher. In this video, I will give an overview of Lesson 1 and wrap up with some tips and tricks. B3 is one of my favorite units, so I'm excited to kick it off with you. Let's get started. Lesson 1 takes 3 class periods and is the anchoring phenomenon lesson for this unit. The 30 minutes of material preparation listed here is to make copies of handouts and gather chart paper and sticky notes for the posters and driving question board. Students will not need their individual devices unless you want them to access digital copies of the cancer data and reading. This lesson can be broken into 3 chunks across the 3 days. In the first part of Lesson 1, students look at and discuss data about cancer. From this data, they figure out that there are differences in the types of cancers that are most commonly diagnosed and those that are the most fatal. Then we watch a short video interview with a scientist who studies ovarian cancer. After the video, students read about and discuss the incidence of cancer in humans and other mammals. From the reading, they figure out that there's a gene called P53 that seems to protect some animals from cancer. Humans have 1 copy of this gene, while elephants have 20 copies. After this, students are left wondering about all of these differences in who gets cancer and about what's going on with this P53 gene. In the second part of Lesson 1, students develop initial models individually and in small groups to explain who gets cancer and why. Then the class comes together to develop an initial class consensus model. These models tend to show taller and older people being the ones who are more likely to get cancer, and P53 somehow protecting against cancer. From all of this, we figure out that we have some ideas and a lot of unanswered questions about who gets cancer and why. Lesson 1 ends with students writing questions and building the driving question board. From this, we figure out that we have a lot of questions about P53 and about cancer. If students don't ask questions about what cancer is, then at the end of building the driving question board, I might say something like, wow, it looks like we have a lot of questions about who gets cancer and why, but do we even know what cancer is? As they try to explain it, they often realize that they don't really know what it is. So then I suggest that we add, what is cancer, to our board, because if we're going to figure out who gets cancer and why, then we should probably figure out what cancer is and what we mean when we say cancer. After we build this driving question board, we identify data we need and brainstorm ideas for investigations we can do to help us. The very last thing students do in this lesson is complete an exit ticket, where they write down the question they think we should start working on next to help us figure out who gets cancer and why. To summarize, over the course of this 3-day lesson, we figure out that cancers that are most commonly diagnosed aren't always the most fatal, and that the incidence of cancer varies in the US by geographic region. We also figure out that taller and older people seem to have higher rates of cancer. However, this isn't the same for other mammals, and one possible explanation seems to be a gene called P53 that protects some animals from cancer. We also figure out that we have some common ideas and a lot of questions about who gets cancer and why. Now let's take a moment to dig into a few key moments in Lesson 1. Once we establish classroom agreements for the unit and discuss what we already know about cancer, we look at data and share what we notice and wonder. The data provides students with information they can draw upon when developing initial models later on, and it motivates them to want to know more about cancer. Another way students get information about cancer to draw upon later is through a reading about the incidence of cancer. The reading differs from the previous data in that it introduces P53 as a possible mechanism. It is important to highlight P53 here. We want students to be thinking about it and wondering what it is and how it might work to protect from cancer. And it's okay if students don't know at this point what a gene is. Their understanding of genes and gene expression will be developed later on in the unit. After discussing the data and reading about cancer, students develop individual initial models to explain their current thinking about who gets cancer and why. We ask students to think about what components, interactions, and mechanisms they can include in their models. At this point, they usually identify components such as humans, other animals like mice, whales, and elephants, which come up in the interview video and reading, and environmental factors like smoking, sun exposure, or pollution. If they struggle to identify interactions, then it helps to identify cancer as a component. Then they can describe the interactions between each of their components and cancer. For example, taller and older people are at a higher risk of cancer. Environmental factors can increase the chance of cancer, and whales don't have high rates of cancer. As for mechanisms, the only thing students usually identify at this point is P53, though sometimes they identify P53 as a component. That's fine as well. In general, the initial models for this cancer unit tend to look different from previous units' initial models due to the lack of interactions between all of the different components. When students complete their initial models, they share them with a partner and then work in small groups to develop a group consensus model before coming together as a whole group to develop a class consensus model. These models help us identify the information we agree upon, as well as the areas where we need more information. If there are a lot of similarities between the small group models, then you might want to consider simply discussing the similarities and differences between them and then choosing one as the class consensus model instead of creating a class consensus model from scratch. Towards the end of the lesson, we create the driving question board with the questions we need to investigate and answer to help us explain who gets cancer and why. Students will likely ask questions about different types of cancer or who gets cancer based on the data they looked at, and about P53 based on the article they read. There will also probably be questions about environmental causes of cancer from previous experiences and about treatments and cures for cancer. All of these things will be addressed throughout the lessons in this unit. By the end of Lesson 1, students have explored and made sense of information about cancer. They have identified questions that they need to investigate in order to better understand who gets cancer and why. However, before understanding who gets cancer and why, we need to understand what cancer even is. So in Lesson 2, we investigate what cancer is and start to figure out how cancer cells differ from non-cancer cells. Now that you have a better understanding of Lesson 1, I want to provide you with a few tips and tricks. My biggest tips for this lesson are related to the sensitive and potentially traumatic nature of the topic. It helps to be proactive and send out the home communication letter included at the end of the unit overview materials. I also shared this letter with my building administration and guidance counselors. One of the first things we do after introducing cancer as our unit phenomenon is look at our classroom community agreements and discuss which ones will be important to focus on as we deal with a sensitive topic like cancer. We also talk about options for students when class becomes too emotionally challenging. My students come up with things like putting your head down, stepping out of the classroom for a bit, and going down to the counselor's office. There are a lot of resources in the Lesson 1 folder that might be helpful for you or your students. For example, there's a student mindfulness resource that contains strategies to use when the contents of a lesson are upsetting, and a teacher reference trauma-informed cell supports that discusses creating a safe classroom environment. While I found this first lesson to be especially challenging for some of my students because of their personal experiences, things seemed to get easier throughout the unit as we shifted our focus to the science of cancer and then broadened it to genetics and heredity. In this lesson, students encounter and may ask about correlation, causation, and P53. It could be good to explain the difference between correlation and causation, especially when discussing the data. As far as P53, tell students that all we know at this point is that it's a gene that seems to protect from cancer. If students ask what a gene is, then you can provide them with a quick definition and let them know that they will gain a better understanding of genes as they go through the unit. Because we create quite a few posters in this unit, let's talk about how to manage them all. The lesson starts with revisiting and revising community agreements, so you will want your classroom community agreements accessible. Toward the end of the lesson, you will be creating an initial consensus model, driving question board, and ideas for investigations and data we need. I like to keep each of these displayed throughout the unit so students can look back at them. However, if you have limited wall space or prefer taking posters down, then you will want to save the initial consensus model for revisions at the end of Lesson 2 and the driving question board for the end of Lesson 7. Lesson 1 really sets the stage for this whole unit. After watching this video, I hope you feel ready to take on cancer with your students. In the next video, I'll be talking about where we go from here, which is to figure out what cancer is. I hope you check it out. Good luck, have fun, and I'll see you next time.